Shri Vikash Parak, Co-Chairman, Taxation GST Subcommittee of the Chamber and partner MS Garv and Associates. Shri Rajkumar Agrawal, Vice President of the Chamber, will deliver the welcome address for today. May I now request Shri Rajkumar Agrawal to welcome our panel speakers with a bouquet of flowers. We will first start with Shri Ishan Tulsian. May I request Shri Agrawal to kindly present the bouquet to Shri Tulsian. Thank you, sir, for joining us. May I now request Shri Agrawal to present the bouquet to Mr. Parak, the co-chairman of the Indirect Taxation Subcommittee, and also partner MS Gov and Associates. May I now request Shri Agrawal to commence the panel session with his welcome address.
Shri Tulsian, Shri Parak, members of the Chamber, guests and friends. I welcome you all to today's panel session on recent developments in GST, the road ahead, organized by the Chamber this afternoon. Our guest speakers today are Shri Ishan Tulsian, FCA ACS LLB, partner R. Tulsian and Company LLP, and Shri Vikas Parak, FCA DISA DIRM, registered valuer, co-chairman, taxation, GST subcommittee of the Chamber and partner, Messrs. Garv and Associates. I am thankful to our past president, Shri Rakesh Shah, for organizing the speakers today. Thank you. Before I make my observation on today's topic, I would like to briefly introduce the speakers to the members. Shri Ishan Tulsian is a practicing fellow chartered accountant and an expert in the area of GST with more than 15 years of experience in GST consultancy, litigation, and compliances. In his address, Shri Tulsian would cover the practical implications of the recent GST amendments, provide solutions to compliance-related problems, and highlight the notable judgments passed in recent times. Shri Vikas Parak is one of our esteemed members and requires no special introduction. Currently, he co-chairs the Taxation GST Subcommittee and has been practicing as a chartered accountant for over 20 years in the area of audit, law, and taxation. Shri Parekh will share his observations on issues related to monetary limits for appeals, ITC reversal, and in cases of credit notes and under reverse charge mechanism. At the outset, I would like to mention that even after 7 years since the introduction of the GST, we are organizing a session themed Recent Developments in GST, the Road Ahead. This signifies the extent and frequency of changes and developments in GST regime has been undergoing since its inception. Frequent amendments and overnight changes are quite common in the early stages of implementation. However, even today, we see that some new circulars or notifications are being issued every second day, making it almost impossible for the taxpayers to take note and comply accordingly. It is therefore imperative that a system should be in place which would streamline all the changes made over a period of time to ease the burden of compliance. Despite the criticism, there is no point disagreeing that GST has been successful in its objective, and as of May 2024, the gross GST revenue generated was rupees 1.73 lakh crore, a 10% increase over the previous year. Friends, the 53rd GST Council meeting was conducted last month, which was also the Council's first meeting after 2024 Lok Sabha elections. In this meeting, significant changes and announcements were made, which would impact businesses and taxpayers nationwide. In today's panel session, our speakers would deliberate on most of these changes and enable us to understand their implications and prepare accordingly. It is a matter of great relief that the government has taken initiatives to ease the burden of compliance for the taxpayers. In this regard, one of the most significant recommendations made is that of an additional GST return form, GSTR 1A, which allows taxpayers to change their GSTR 1 for a specific tax period. As per the recommendations of the GST Council, GSTR 1A can be used to add any sales details missed in the original GSTR 1 filing and amend mistakes in the reported sales details before filing the GSTR 3B. The GST Council has also recommended to insert a new section 128A in the CGST Act to provide waiver of interest and penalty on demand notices issued under Section 73 of the CGST Act. I am sure Sri Tulsian would be enlightening us on these new provisions. In order to reduce the litigation burden on taxpayers, there are genuine doubts over taxability of or classification of goods and services. The Council has decided to recommend insertion of a new section 11A for granting power not to recover duties levied on or short levied as a result of common trade practice. However, litigation related to input tax credit disputes under Section 16 or 17 of the CGST Act may not be covered within the scope of the aforesaid provisions, and therefore such litigation may continue. In this context, I would request our guest speakers to share their views. Before concluding, I would also request our honored speakers to share their views on the proposed amendments of the Section 122(1)(b) Sunset Clause to amend Section 109 and 117 of the CGST Rule 88B in course of their addresses. Going forward, the Chamber strongly feels that there is a requirement of a general amnesty scheme for all litigations. Since GST was implemented in 2017, many SSEs have committed unintentional errors as the law was new and there were also technical glitches. This will also help in clearing the backlog of cases before the GST tribunal is established. From time to time, the Chamber has received multiple submissions from the members regarding correction of inverted duty structure for sectors such as textiles, coal and fertilizer. The Chamber has already forwarded its suggestions to the concerned authorities in its pre-budget memorandum 24-25. Additional issues that may be raised and discussed today would be further followed up by the Chamber in the form of representation to the Government of India. With these words, I conclude my speech and request Sri Tulsian to commence his address. Thank you. Hello.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome each and every one of you to Bharat Chamber of Commerce today for our panel discussion on recent developments in GST and the road ahead. Uh, First, I would like to I would like to extend my warm regards and heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Rajkumar Agarwal, the Vice President, for such a generous introduction of myself and my co-speaker today. Thank you, sir, and for such a detailed analysis, in fact, of the 53rd GST Council meeting recommendations. So I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and warm regards to all the committee members, starting from Mr. N.G. Ketan, the President of Bharat Chamber of Commerce, as well as to Mr. Rakesh Shah, the former President at Bharat Chamber of Commerce, for organizing this session, to S.M. Surana ji, the Chairman of the Bharat Chamber of Commerce, as well as to Mr. S.M. Surana, the Chairman of Taxation Committee, and to my co-panelist, the co-speaker, Mr. Vikash Parekh, today. Let us move ahead and discuss what have been the changes. I think the screen is visible to all. So I've tried to put in all the details of most of the relevant amendments and the analysis of the circulars which have been issued thereafter on the 26th. So first, let us understand that the 53rd GST Council meeting, it has happened on the 22nd of June 2024. It has recommended several amendments, proposed recommendations, and there were 16 circulars which were issued in pursuance to this to bring into effect certain clarifications on the 26th of June 2024. So I have tried to put in the exhaustive analysis of most of the relevant amendments here for the presentation deck, and let us see how much we can cover today. We'll try to cover a lot of content. Of course, and then we'll have a doubt clearing session also. We will start off with the amnesty scheme, which is the waiver of penalty and interest. So, sir, see, this particular amnesty scheme or the settlement of dispute, which you may say, this is provided in the proposed section of 128A, which is yet to be notified. It will come into the act. Now, what is the condition here? The condition here is that in case if there is any show cause notice or any demand order which has been issued in respect of section 73, which is the non-fraud cases, and these particular show cause notices and orders are pertaining to the financial year 17-18, 18-19 and 19-20. If they have been issued, we can make payment of tax voluntarily as per the scheme when it is notified by the forms under the SOD. We will pay the tax and we can apply for a waiver, 100% waiver of interest and penalty. There is no waiver of tax, there is no abatement of tax. But if we make the payment of the disputed tax amount, which is as per the show cause notice under section 73, which is maybe in the demand stage, maybe in the appeal stage, maybe in the show cause stage. So we can get 100% waiver of interest and penalty regarding that. Let us see this table where we stand today. Sir, if we bring our attention to the screen, for financial year 1920, we may observe here that the last date for issue of show cause notice for your show cause notice under section 73 non-fraud cases, it ended on the 31st of May 2024, which was the extended due date. Now 3 months after that, 31st of August 2024 is the last date for issuance of order under section 73 subsection 9, right? Now at this stage in respect of 1920, we are currently at what? The show cause has been issued because the last date of show cause has already passed, which was the 31st of May. Now, demands are being prepared under section 73, right? The demand orders are being prepared under section 73(9), and in some cases, demands would have also reached us, and we may have also been in the process of filing appeal. This is for in respect of 1920 for show cause notices under section 73, which is covered under the amnesty scheme. The second current position is for financial year 18-19. Sir, if you would observe, the last date for issue of show cause notice under section 73 in respect of 18-19 for non-fraud cases was 31st of Jan 2024. This is also extended. Now, 3 months after that, that is 30th of April 2024, is the last date for issuance of order under section 73 subsection 9. Sir, that date is passed. So in all the cases in the industry, the order under section 73 subsection 9, which is non-fraud cases for 18-19, has been issued. Now 3 months from the date of order under section 78 is provided to file an appeal under section 107. Now 3 months from 30th of April, it ends on 30th of July 2024. So we are on the 5th of July today. In this month, most of us, our taxpayers, we are going to either choose to file appeal for demand orders which have been issued in respect of Section 73, non-fraud cases for 1819. It is very important for us to understand this amnesty scheme at the present moment to understand how we can take benefit of this. For 1718, let us come to the first year. Sir, when was the demand order which was to be issued? Last date was 31st of December 2023. Now, 3 months from that, we had 3 months, means 31st of March was the last date to file appeal under Section 107 for 1718. That is passed, sir. So, in most of the cases, appeal has been filed in APL 01. By now, APL 02 would have also been issued. That is the final acknowledgement of the appeal. Maybe in certain cases, appeal would have also been decided. Show cause notices would have been issued. So, we need to understand for 1718, we are at the appeal stage or appeal after stage for GStat. For 1819, we may be in the preparation of appeal stage or right now at the demand order stage. For 1920, we have just been over with the show cause notice stage and we are being ready for the demand and the appeal. Now, taking this into a context, where are we standing, sir? Now, this particular amnesty scheme, we know very little about as per the press release because no clarification, nothing has been. We mostly feel that this particular scheme will come into effect from November onwards. This may be proposed in your finance bill right now in the budget session on July 22nd, but it may come into effect from November, December 2024. So the last date for availing this particular amnesty scheme or settlement of dispute to make the voluntary payment of tax 100% and get 100% waiver of interest and penalties 31st of March 2025. So from November 2024 to March 2025, we may have a proper time limit within which we can evaluate and we can make payment. Now, sir, let us understand the nuances. Today, we are assembled here not to just understand the theory, but how to go about it. What is the implication on litigation? How to handle it? What are the legal safeguards? So, let us first understand, sir, the nuances. The first nuance, sir, I just had an audit. Let us see the fourth point here. I just had an audit of a departmental audit under Section 65 for 1920. 10 paras were mentioned. 10 disputes were there. One show cause notice was issued. One show cause notice under Section 73 was issued in the next month from the range office. Now, in that one show cause notice, there are 10 paras I want to contest to, sir. I have very good merit on 2 points, 2 paras. But the remaining 8 paras, I feel, okay, sir, SOD is coming. I want to just pay off and I want to get over with it. But, sir, this particular amnesty scheme may be qua a particular show cause notice and order, not qua an issue. What does that mean? In case if you want to avail the benefit of waiver of interest and penalty, sir, make payment of tax of all the 10 paras. Even those points where you want to contest. So, in case if this amnesty scheme later, if it is clarified that if it is not in respect of any issue as per the particular show cause notice and order, but if it is as per a show cause notice or an order which contains certain points which I want to contest also, but if the department says that no, sir, all the points you have to make payment voluntarily, then only you will get interest and penalty waiver, then, sir, we may receive lukewarm response. Definitely, because in 10 points, there would be 2-3 points I want to contest. They are very good on merit. Remaining points I want to pay. So this is something which is a nuance which we should be able to understand when the final print comes out. Second thing, sir, those people, as I mentioned, right now, for all the settlement of dispute schemes which we've seen earlier, payment needs to be made in a particular mechanism under the scheme. With a form needs to be filled out or a particular time limit procedure is there. Sir, right now I will not suggest or opinionate that, sir, go ahead and please make the payment in DRC 03. The particular scheme has only not been notified. Please wait. But, sir, when waiting, my appeal time limit is going. 30th of July is the last date for filing appeal under Section 107, read with Rule 78 for 1819. So, sir, please go ahead with filing appeals. First thing, I can withdraw an appeal if before the issuance of APL 2, which is the final acknowledgement by myself without any approval. That happens in 1 month. 1 month time, we receive APL 2 from the appellate authority. First appellate authority, Joint Commissioner Appeals. Okay, sir, 1 month is also gone. Scheme has not been notified. 2 months later, sir. Okay, now show cause notice or order has not been issued. Still, with the approval of the Joint Commissioner Appeals, I can still apply for and file APL 01W to withdraw that particular appeal. And I will tell the officer, sir, please allow me to withdraw the appeal in case a show cause notice has also been issued. I will say, sir, I want to avail the benefit of this amnesty scheme, sir. I don't want to contest. So there would be clarifications and powers given of this waiver to adjudication authorities, the range officers, as well as the appellate authorities. That is the Joint Commissioner level. We are yet to see this clarification. It should come out. So I would opinionate that, sir, please go ahead and file the appeals. Do not miss this particular right under 107. First thing. Second thing, for those issues, sir, for 17-18, we have made 100% tax payment under protest. I don't want to pay interest. Why will I pay interest? There is 10% at least pre-deposit you have to pay against a disputed tax, we know. Two, when we apply appeal to the first appellate authority, sir, I've made payment of 100%. I'm very confident I'm going to win, but I don't want to incur any interest. And there is no concept of interest on interest. I want to lock my interest. Today I made the prepayment of 100%, 10% not 100% I made. So in case if I lose, I am going to not incur any further interest charge. My tax has been paid and penalty will come. Sir, in those cases also it should be covered. How, sir? First thing, 100% tax I've already paid. There should be a mechanism in the fine print that there should be a particular mechanism where I'll be able to appropriate or adjust this entire amount which I paid under protest against the requirement of 100% tax to be paid under the scheme. Or tax I've already paid under protest or under the scheme. Just appropriate. Third issue, sir, there are many times which we see that the department has issued show cause notice under section 74 because time limit has passed. So this time limit has passed. They don't have much evidence of fraud, willful misstatement, suppression of facts, but they are still going to issue. Or with their humor or interest that I want to charge extra penalty and I want to earn. Even though they may not be having good sufficient evidence. Sir, I'm going to contest it. I'm going to appeal against that particular notice in the first level of appellate authority and I'll say, sir, where is the evidence? I have all the evidence. There has been no fraud, no fake invoicing, no mens rea, nothing. So in case if that particular section 74 notice is challenged and if we win the appeal and it comes back to section 73, it is gone back to section 73, then what will happen, sir? If that particular appeal order has been passed before 31st of March 2025, can we still avail the waiver, this particular waiver of interest and penalty? If the show cause notice under section 74 is not covered here, for 73 is only covered, if section 74 notice after appeal gets converted to 73 notice, and if this particular order comes out before 31st of March 2025, can I avail the benefit of this waiver in this particular case? It is yet to be clarified, but I should be able to. Sir, then after that, block audits. So we may have come across block audits. 18-19, 19-20, 20-21, 21-22, 7 years audit altogether. 3 years audit altogether. Sir, this scheme only covers financial years 17-18, 18-19, 19-20 for which show cause notices are over. You cannot issue any further show cause notices. For 2021, you may issue show cause notices, but my block audit here, if you see the last point here on this slide, block of audit under section 65 departmental audit has been initiated for 3 financial years. Together, 1 show cause notice has been issued. 18-19, 19-20, 20-21. Sir, they say you have to avail this particular scheme or settlement or dispute, make the payment, entire payment, qua a notice or an order, 100 rupees in the order, 100 rupees across all the points of all the 3 years. Are sir, 2021 is not even covered. 2021 financial year is not even covered in this SOD. So, will proportionate tax payment of 18-19 and 19-20 suffice for me to be eligible to get the waiver of interest and penalty? We need clarification for that. Sir, there are so many cases. We see the last point here, 17-18 demand, which is currently appealed. Interest is 120% of tax. Tax is 2.5 lakh, interest is 2.5 lakh. Penalty is 10% or 10,000, whichever is higher. Total everything together is 6.5 lakhs. Sir, this is a golden opportunity. If the case is devoid of merit, please go ahead. Please take this settlement scheme whenever it gets notified. Right? So these are few of the nuances which we've covered here. What we believe is that this particular, we require further clarifications. Also, we need to understand that erroneous refunds, if any, given by the particular government to us and a show cause notice has been issued. Sir, show cause notice is issued under 4 or 5 situations. Short payment or tax, incorrect, ineligible claiming of input tax credit. And third is your erroneous refund has been given. Right? So if they give a show cause notice, to refund back the particular amount which we have received, in that case, there are only 2 options. Either contest and appeal the entire tax amount, interest amount, penalty amount, or you make the payment of all. There is no waiver for that. Erroneous refund cases are not covered in the amnesty scheme. Sir, section 74 notices are not covered. So if you are a fraudulent taxpayer or have been alleged to be fraudulent taxpayer, until and unless you bring back that particular section 74 to 73 after winning the appeal, you will not be able to claim this benefit, right? Now, let us go ahead. Let me see if I have missed out any point here. Possibility of withdrawal. Sir, see there, as I mentioned, once the fine print comes out, we will be able to understand that even at the appeal stage, those cases which have already been decided by the first appellate authority, they are pending for GStat. They may also be covered in this case. You just pay the tax and you may be waived of the interest and penalty. So, show cause notice stage, demand stage, appeal, first appeal stage, second appeal stage also, right? Now, let us understand the second proposed recommendation, sir. Uniform time limit for show cause notice. Sir, all of us know there are two time limits or two adjudication mechanisms under GST Act, Section 73 and Section 74 for the officer to initiate adjudication proceedings. Matlab kya hai, sir? There is one person who is a bona fide taxpayer. So section 73, non-fraud cases, a show cause notice is issued under section 73, subsection 1. Fine. There is a second mechanism for fraudulent taxpayers, section 74. Those notices are issued, right? Now, sir, because the government department, mostly, they are unable to manage the workload of being able to consider all the taxpayers in the jurisdiction, to read all of their data, and to be in a position to issue show cause notices under section 73 in time limit. Sir, you may just see two times the time limit was increased of issuance of order under section 73 because the department is understaffed. The department has their dispensations, they have shortcomings, they are unable to cope up with the pressure. So this particular amendment or proposed amendment has been brought from the welcome point of view. It is a welcome amendment from the point of view of department, not us. The department currently has 3 years from the due date of filing of GSTR or filing of GSTR 9 annual return. Sir, try to understand. 3 years from the due date of filing of annual return in GSTR 9. That is the last date for issuance of order under section 73 subsection 9. Minus 3 months is the last date for issuance of show cause notice. Sir, abhi main agar aapko bol दूं ye 3 साल को 5 साल हो जाएगा. So will it be beneficial for us or for the department? अपने ऊपर में तलवार लटकते रहेगा that for 5 years after the filing of GSTR 9 we may receive a show cause notice under section 74A, which is a common time limit, even though I am a genuine taxpayer. The time limit should have been 3 years. We don't know what currently it is. Maybe 4 years, maybe 5 years. Very doubtful it will be less than 3 years. But it may be 4 years. So, sir, 3 years was the time limit. It may be increased to 4 years or 5 years for bona fide taxpayers. So it is an adverse development for us, but welcome development for the department. Now, sir, try to understand this particular table. It mentions about the last date of issuance of show cause notice under section 73 for 1920 for 31st of May. Now, sir, when I've discussed about this uniform time limit or uniform mechanism for issuing of show cause notice, same show cause notice to bona fide taxpayer also, in non-fraud cases, to fraud cases also. So we need to understand from when is this provision applicable? Is this applicable retrospectively from 2019, 20, 2021, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24? No. This is prospectively applicable from 24, 25, sir. 23, 24 is the past. Due date of filing GSTR 9 for 23-24 is 31st of December 2024, which will come. And sir, this amendment is going to be brought about in the Act in the year 2024-25. So sir, let us not be too disheartened. After 1920, there are 4 years, 2021, 21-22, 22-23, 23-24, wherein show cause notices will still be issued under section 73 for 3 years and section 74 for 5 years. Now only from 2024-25 onwards that this uniform time limit, which is yet to be prescribed, 4 years or 5 years or 3 years, it will come into being. Sir, let us understand that first question in everyone's mind here. Sir, अच्छा ये सब sir कर दिए, same notice कर दिए, same section कर दिए, time limit same कर दिए, तो sir क्या फर्क है जो धोखेबाज आदमी और जो genuine आदमी है? What is the difference? I may do fake invoicing and I'll be on the same treatment and pedestal and even keen with the person who has not done anything, who is basically penalized because of the onerous responsibilities of his supplier who has not filed his GSTR 1 or something. No, sir, there is still a differentiation of treatment because the penalty provisions have not changed. The penalty provisions are still the same, sir. What are the penalty provisions? Briefly, I'll just go through this because I'll link with this with another clarification. Section 73, subsection 5. Sir, voluntary payment. DRC 01A, we receive pre-show cause notice intimation, or we voluntarily we make the payment. So no penalty then, sir. Okay, no problem. Under section 73, show cause notice is issued. Sir, within 30 days, I will make the payment of tax and interest. No penalty again. Section 73, subsection what? 8. Sir, when an order is issued, I am still contesting. Order is issued under section 73, subsection 9. Sir, very little. 10% penalty of the disputed tax or 10,000, whichever is higher. So first penalty instance comes here. 73 non-fraud cases. Sir, let's come to 74. 74, it is assumed that the person has indulged into some activity which is fraudulent. So even if you voluntarily make the payment before issuance of show cause notice, you have to mandatorily pay 15% penalty. That is section 74, subsection 5. Sir, show cause notice is issued. And within 30 days, if I make the payment of tax and interest, sir, 25% penalty, 100% need not be paid. Section 74, subsection 1 mentions टैक्स जितना रुपया 100 रुपया का है आपका जो स्पेसिफाई हुआ हुआ इंटरेस्ट भी 100 रुपया पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा नो बट देयर आर स्पेसिफिक सिचुएशंस अंडर सेक्शन 74 वेयर इफ आई मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स within 30 days from show cause notice, within 30 days from the issue of order, reduced penalty benefit is there. 15%, 25%, 50%, right? Now, why am I mentioning all this, sir? Another clarification has come. They want to increase this 30 days of consideration, pondering time for the taxpayer, and they want to increase it to 60 days. Sir, what does this mean? This means, sir, show cause notice issue hua hai under section 74. 60 days is there for us under section 74, subsection 8, for us to think whether we want to contest or we want to make the payment. 60 days. So that's a one beneficial arrangement, right? 30 days is going to be replaced with 60 days. Even after the issue of an order, 30 days was provided for availing reduced penalty of 50% and not 100% under section 74. Here again the same thing is there, sir. 60 days will be provided, right? Now, extension of time limit, section 16, subsection 4. Sir, we all must be knowing about this draconian provision which has been basically, harassing all the taxpayers. So what is happening? Sir, mudda ka baat kya hai? Section 16, subsection 4, what does it say? For 2324, any input tax credit pertaining to 2324, last date of claiming that input tax credit is in before 30th of November 2024, succeeding year 30th November. Now, earlier for 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 2021, it was what? Due date of filing of GSTR 3B of September of the next year. It was 20th of October. Sir, let us understand the brief background first. Sir, divergent case laws had come out. Few high courts have said, no, sir, very good, no problem. It is eligible, no time barring, no problem. Certain case laws had come out, sir, say no, this is a problem and it needs to be followed. Let us go through the background. First case law, which came out just a month ago, sir, less than a month ago, 4th of June 2024, M Trade Links versus Union of India, Kerala High Court. Sir, one of the rare case laws which were in our favor. What does it say? 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 4 years. If September GSTR 3B return of the next year, means if you have done belated GSTR 3B filing after 20th of October also, but up to 30th of November of that year, sir, no problem. 16 subsection 4 will not be attracted. You can claim that particular input tax credit. It is a very big landmark kind of a judgment which had come out, sir. But on the flip side, we have Andhra Pradesh High Court judgment is there of Tirumala Konda plywood, wherein it says that, sir, ITC is not a constitutional right, it's a vested right. But how will it vest? Only once you fulfill all the procedures, conditions, restrictions in the statute itself under section 16, subsection 2, under section 16, subsection 4, then only it will vest in you. आप मेरे को ये बोल रहे हो सर कि सेक्शन 16 सबसेक्शन 2 का 5 कंडीशंस फुलफिल कर लियो, इनवॉइस है आपके पास में, गुड्स आए आपके पास में, सप्लायर ने टैक्स पेमेंट किया, आपने 3B फाइल किया और आपके 2B में है, ये सब ठीक है. But आप बोलते हो सर notwithstanding non-obstantive clause is in the beginning of section 16 subsection 2. So it overarches also another provision, another restriction of time limit of section 16 subsection 4. No, that is not true. Any restricting provision always has non-obstantive clause on the enabling provision of ITC, which is section 16 subsection 1, which says कि धंधा के लिए अगर कुछ भी खर्चा करते हैं in the course of furtherance of business, we can claim input tax credit. But if there is another restriction of section 16 subsection 4, which mentions time limit, 20th of October, 30th of November. So how can you say if it is a non-withstanding of section 16 subsection 2 5 condition ka, that will also overarch your another restriction provision, which is section 16 subsection 4? No, because there is no contradiction. सेक्शन 16 सबसेक्शन 2 का 5 restrictions भी लागू रहेगा, सेक्शन 16 सबसेक्शन 4 का टाइम लिमिट भी लागू रहेगा. There is no contradiction. There were these divergent case laws had come. Sir, now what has been proposed in the 53rd GST Council meeting? Bravo. It is extremely beneficial for us for financial years 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, and 20-21. These 4 years, if input tax credit has been claimed in respect of any invoice or debit note pertaining to any of these 4 years and has been claimed in GSTR 3B return, and that GSTR 3B return has been filed before 30th of November 2021. No problem, no time barring, nothing. Sir, try to understand the interpretation. First interpretation. March 2020, 1920 pertaining March 2020 GSTR 3B is there. I have 100 invoices, 1000 rupees input tax credit, I'm claiming, sir. But by some problem, cash crunch or something, I filed that entire GSTR 3B of March 2020 of 1920 after 20th of October 2020, which is the last date for claiming input tax credit pertaining to 1920. When did I file that GSTR 3B? I filed it on 1st of November 2020. First case, all of that input tax credit which has been correctly reported in your GSTR 3B of March 2020 pertaining to 1920, even if it has been filed after 20th of October 2020, but if it has been filed before 30th of November 2021, yes, I can claim all of that input. First interpretation. Second interpretation, sir, stale invoice, any invoice pertaining to March 2020, मतलब 19-20 का invoice है sir, March 2020 का invoice है. I did not claim that particular invoice in the GSTR 3B of March 2020. I claimed it in September 2020. रोक नहीं सकता because it is there in law. If I file GSTR 3B of September up to 20th of October 2020, sir, नहीं payment की है, नहीं file की है, cash crunch था. We filed it on the 1st of November 2020. Sir, is this GSTR 3B which is filed of September 2020, ये 1st of November 2020 में file की है? Is this before 30th of November 2021? Yes. This is before the amnesty scheme date. We can claim. Third interpretation. Sir, any stale invoice of 1920, ये मार्च का ही समझ लीजिए, March 20 of 1920 एक invoice है 1000 रुपए का. I did not claim that input tax credit in any of the GSTR 3B of 1920. कोई बात नहीं. Any of the GSTR 3B of 2021, and now I am claiming it in April 2021-22. This is absolutely wrong. It is not allowed. But I have claimed it in GSTR 3B of April 2021, and I have filed that GSTR 3B of April 21, in which there is an input of 1920, and I have claimed it before 30th of November 2021. This particular clarification is this particular case would also be covered in this. As per this, we have to wait for further clarifications. Now, sir, let us understand there's the second clarification which has been mentioned. Sir, my GSTN was cancelled due to I could not file my GSTR 3B for 6 months in 2023-24. Sir, कोई problem नहीं है. Once my GSTN was cancelled or suspended by section 29, rule 21 of the proper officer by suo moto action. 6 महीना नहीं करते तो sir cancel हो जाता है ना, suspend हो जाता है. In that interim, I cannot file 1, I cannot file 3B. धंधा बंद हो गया sir. I cannot file and I cannot claim any input. So sir, what will happen? I had applied for revocation of this cancellation of my GST registration, and the revocation of cancellation मतलब वापस से जीवित हो गया मेरा GST registration when? In December 2024. Sir, last date of input tax claiming for 23-24 was 30th of November 2024. But revocation only happened. The proper officer gave me revocation in December 24. I could not file for 1 full year. My GSTR 3B returns, 1 returns. I could not claim input tax credit. Sir, this clarification. Within 30 days from the date of revocation, receiving the date of revocation of cancellation, in January 2025, if you file all of your GSTR 3B returns, all of your GSTR 1 returns, make the payment of all the taxes, you can legitimately claim all of these input tax credits, which otherwise would have been time barred, because it is, you are filing all of these returns after 30th of November 2024. So this is another relaxation which has been provided. Right now, we need to understand, sir, so there are certain clarifications which are required. Sir, see, try to understand what is mentioned. If any input tax credit has been claimed by filing GSTR 3B, and if that 3B pertains to 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, वो 4 साल का 3B में अगर आप फाइल करते हो और वो 3B आपका 30 नवंबर 2021 के अंदर फाइल हो जाता है, तो हर केस में तो फाइल होएगा ना सर, 1-2 महीना का डिले होता है ना 3B का. बट नो सर, अनदर डिस्प्यूट, न्यूआंस, What is that? Sir, my tax audit, statutory audit was happening in October 2020. For 1920, my statutory auditor, tax auditor, income tax auditor says that, sir, you have omitted to claim input tax credit. And my September 2020 GSTR 3B deadline for 20th of October is passed. I come to know, sir, 1 crore rupees of input tax credit I have not claimed pertaining to 1920. Last date was 20th October. I came to know on 23rd of October during my tax audit. But sir, I have entered it in books. I have all the other conditions satisfied. I am going to claim it in GSTR 9 and 9C. GSTR 9 table 6. Sir, whether that case is covered here? No, it is not covered, sir. See the second line of this particular page. Through any return in form 3B, not GSTR 9. तो सर 1 करोड़ रुपया गया. We need clarifications. Sir, our supplier could not, कोई कारण से उनका GST registration has been cancelled for 6 months. Sir, बहुत problem हो रहा है. GSTR 1, he could not file. My GSTR 2A, 2B could not be auto-populated. I could not claim input tax credit. And 30th November, 20th October, time barred. In that particular case, sir, what will happen? Where the fault is not mine. My supplier, because of his cancellation of his GST registration or his delayed filing of GSTR 1 of September 2020, he has filed it on 1st of November 2020. He has filed his GSTR 1. Arey sir, it will not auto-populate also in my GSTR 2A back then. In that case, what will happen? It is not covered. There are several nuances, what I'm trying to say. Interest, which is balance in e-cash ledger. Sir, let us understand this. Another proposed amendment, sir, we all know interest, as Sir Rajkumar sir has also mentioned in his speech, that sir, interest read with section 50, subsection 1, read with rule 88B. What does it say? Sir, what does it say? If your June 2024 GSTR 3B return, your due date filing is 20th July. Sir, you filed on 25th of July. कोई reason से sir, 5 days. Sir, अभी तक जो चलते आ रहा था क्या हो रहा था sir? Let us see this example. अभी तक जो चलते आ रहा था sir, for the next 5 days, I have to make payment of 18% interest on 5 divided by 365 into what? Gross tax liability or net tax liability? No, on the net tax liability. Net tax liability का मतलब क्या हुआ? Total gross tax liability minus the balance of input tax credit available and the amount which we have to make payment using debiting our electronic credit cash ledger, right? Cash ledger में जितना आपने debit कर रहे हैं उतना अमाउंट के ऊपर में इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट करना है सर अपने को. इफ यू सी द फर्स्ट 1 April, May, June, wherever there is a delay in GSTR 3B, there we have made payment of interest. Now sir, amendment क्या है sir? Amendment है sir, Eicher Motors, Madras High Court. There is a tendency of GST Council to follow the queue of Madras High Court judgments, but this is favorable for us, so we are not complaining, sir. This particular judgment, it had just come out like few months ago. This mentioned, sir, 3B file क्यों करना है सर? 20th of July पे आपने तो tax payment कर दिया है. You have deposited by challan. It has come into your e-cash ledger. You are not getting it back. It has gone to the government. It is to be considered proper payment to the government. If by technical glitch, if I filed on 22nd of July, 2 days later, because of some technical problem, why should I pay interest? Cash is already deposited on 20th of July for June GSTR 3B. I will not pay interest. You are not liable to pay interest. So taking that cue, they have mentioned as on the due date of filing of GSTR 3B, 20 July for June, whatever amount you have in your credit ledger, whatever amount you have in your cash ledger, both together will come and it will offset your gross tax liability. अगर balance credit ledger और cash ledger में दोनों में ज़्यादा है, मतलब कि 100 रुपया है cash ledger credit ledger में मिला करके, लेकिन gross tax liability 18% on the sales सिर्फ 60 rupees आ रहा है, तो we don't need to make payment of interest at all in case of delayed filing of 3B. Delayed filing, sir, delayed filing. 2 दिन, 5 दिन, 10 दिन, right? अब sir, let us understand this another nuance. Sir, January 2024 का case था sir. This particular tax invoice outward supplies invoice pertain to January 2024. I forgot to report it in GSTR 1 and 3B of January. I reported it in June, 6 महीना बाद. Current law, what does it say? On gross tax liability, 18% interest you have to make payment, regardless of the fact कि June में आपका credit ledger में है, कुछ cash ledger में nothing. Here, sir, that requires clarification. for prior period liability pertaining to some other GSTR3B, if it is reported in the current GSTR3B, even though we may have balance, enough balance, more than enough balance of credit and cash ledger, this was still not covered under Rule 88B. We had to pay interest. So that requires, that clarification is required. Sir, introduction of GSTR 1A. Rajkumar sir had so beautifully explained this in his speech. Sir, is there any current facility ki for June 2024, if I filed our GSTR 1 on 5th of July 2024, 11th को टाइम है सर, 5th को मैंने फाइलिंग कर दिया सर, गलत फाइलिंग हो गया, दो गलती हुआ सर. In 4A, in table 4A, B2B, sales was 1,25,000 to be reported. I reported only 1 lakh. Omission of 25,000, as sir had mentioned, you can do good this omission by filing just GSTR 1A. Second problem, sir, when I was uploading B2B invoice, by mistake I selected subject to RCM. 4A के बजाय 4B में चला गया. But I am not subject to RCM only. That rectification also I can do. Sir, when can I do, sir? I can file GSTR 1A any time before filing GSTR 3B for the tax period. 25 जुलाई को भी मैं अगर फाइल करता हूँ, delayed by 5 days for June 3B, I can still file up to 24th. I can still file up to 25th. No problem. Sir, is it mandatory? No, sir, it is optional. Sir, अच्छा 1 लाख रुपया का अपने रिपोर्ट की है सेल और करेक्ट होना चाहिए था 125. So sir, 25,000 सिर्फ डालना है कि पूरा 125 डालना है? No sir, we have to report the entire revised value of 125. We just don't have to report the incremental correct value, because these amounts which are being corrected, reported in GSTR 1 plus GSTR 1A, they will auto populate GSTR 2A and 2B of the recipient. Extremely important. सब जड़ है इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट का क्लेमिंग का यहां से सर, where amendment has been provided. Try to understand, sir. 5th of July, I had filed GSTR 1 for my June, right? And 10th of July, I have filed my GSTR 1A before the 11th of July. So, sir, this revision which I have made in GSTR 1A, it will be reflected in this month's GSTR 2B only, sir, because my GSTR 1A has been filed by the 11th of July. So my customer will be benefited by getting the correct amount of input tax credit in his GSTR 2B, which is one of the conditions, section 16 subsection 2 clause AA, read with amended rule 36 sub rule 4. From 1st of January 2022, it is mandated that input tax credit has to appear in 2B. Input tax credit has to appear in 2B for the recipient to claim. Sir, GSTR 1A file kiye the sir 15 तारीख को. It was after 11th. So sir, 2B of the recipient will be auto-populated in the next month, July GSTR 2B, right? But 2A will be auto-populated right away. Sir, GSTR 9 table 4, which auto-populates all the details from GSTR 1, will now be auto-populated with GSTR 1 and 1A, right? Sir, GSTR 1A once filed cannot be amended. GSTR 1A once filed in respect of an invoice, it cannot be amended again, right? Sir, time limit for filing appeal under GSTAT. Sir, there was Bagdad mach gaya tha abhi jab Sanjay Kumar Mishra ji was appointed as the national president of GSTAT in the month of May. Sir, whether 3 months time has started for filing of appeal before GSTAT after the first appellate authority order? No, sir. This has been clarified now. Earlier, what was the law? Law was the date of communication of the appellate order. Appeal order by the first appellate authority, date, जो अपना date of the order, or the date on which the national president, state president or principal bench of GSTAT, they will enter office, resume office. अभी तक नहीं हुआ है sir, whichever is later. But now the government has clarified that they will provide a particular date. They will notify a date from where 3 months will be calculated for filing of GSTR, for filing of APL 1, sorry, for filing of your appeal before your GSTAT. Quantum of deposits, all of these things we can see. We can discuss about this ESOP. So try to understand, I have a particular Indian subsidiary company, right? And there is a foreign holding company. Sir, to incentivize my employees, Indian subsidiary company employees, 5 years you stay in this company, restricted stock units are there, ESOP is there. After 5 years, sir, the shares will vest in you. So share का दाम बहुत बढ़ जाएगा 5 साल बाद में. You have to stay till 5 years, sir. Okay, the employee is incentivized by these ESOP and RSU schemes. Sir, what is the incentive, sir? Google US का shares मिलेगा, India का नहीं मिलेगा. You will get in dollars. So what is happening here, sir? The foreign holding company is directly transferring the foreign shares directly to the employees of the Indian subsidiary company, and the Indian subsidiary company is reimbursing the actual cost, the market value of these shares to the foreign holding company. Where is the GST? There is no GST, because stock, shares, these are not supply of goods or services. But in case, if you see in this example, $50 is being provided by the subsidiary company as reimbursement to the foreign holding company in respect of the shares. But $5 is being charged by the foreign holding company in respect of paperwork, facilitation, management charges. So GST will be charged on this on RCM basis as an import of service by the Indian subsidiary company, right? And it can claim input tax credit. So place of supply, sir, in case of unregistered taxpayers, सर बात समझिए, आज मेरा एक मोबाइल शॉप है वेस्ट बंगाल में, कर्नाटका से एक आदमी आता है, काउंटर में बोलते हैं सर मोबाइल फोन दो. I sell him the mobile phone on the counter. I am going to register, I am going to record CGST, SGST, or I am going to put IGST. Sir, if he gives his billing address of Karnataka, we have to put IGST. We have to put the detail of Karnataka, his billing address, because that is where he hails from. That is what the law says, Section 10, Clause CA of IGST Act. It mentions the address which is mentioned in the invoice in case of supply to a unregistered customer. That will be the place of supply. So, place of supply is in Karnataka, and the supplier is in West Bengal. IGST will come. So a clarification has come, sir. Amazon, I am in Gurgaon. My parents stay in Bengal. I was once upon a time in Whitefield, Bangalore. I have my address in my Amazon account of Gurgaon. I'm staying in Gurgaon. I put my billing address as my rental address. Fine. But I have ordered a mobile phone on Amazon to be delivered to Kolkata, West Bengal. So delivery address is different, West Bengal, and billing address is of Gurgaon, DLF Cyber City. Now, as per 10CA, the billing address is supposed to be taken or the delivery address. There is a confusion. So the address which is to be put on the invoice of an unregistered person is going to be the delivery address. This is the clarification. If there is any mismatch between the address of delivery address or the billing address, the address which will go on the invoice will be the delivery address in respect of supply to a unregistered person. Refunds, sir, automated refund filing, sir, what used to happen? Sir, scroll used to be generated of automated refund when our data, port code, our tax amount, our shipping bill number, everything in table 6A in GSTR1 would match with the data put in table 3.1B of GSTR3B with the shipping bill details and EGM details with IceGate. And automatically, scroll would be generated within a few days, refund would come. Sir, 1 month later, Forex exchange, 1 month later, moisture content, I have tested here 10%. When they tested at the discharge port, 6%, 4% more, 4% more. So I am going to issue a debit note, further sale. But sir, when I am issuing a debit note, making payment of tax with export with payment of IGST. But sir, where is the refund? Sir, shipping bill is already used up. There is no mechanism of matching that shipping bill, matching the debit note, matching the details with GSTR 1 and 3B for triggering the scroll of automated refund filing. So that mechanism will come. Accommodation services, sir, PG, these hostels, all of these were being used by students, used by working professionals. Sir, what happened after July 19, 2022? That the exemption of up to 1,000 rupees tariff for a day, it was removed. Sir, ये सब PG और तो छोटा है ना, so 1,000 रुपए के नीचे charge करते हैं per day का, but that exemption was removed. So now they were trying to seek exemption of renting of residential dwelling for the purpose of residence. That is also exempted. So अब और क्लैरिटी लाने के लिए there has been a clarification, sir. कोई भी स्टूडेंट रह रहा है, कोई भी वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल रह रहा है in any PG accommodation or anything, he is paying less than or up to 20,000 per month, and if he is staying for at least 90 days, this service will be exempted. So there are these warranty services also. If I have time, sir, if you can confirm if I have time, if I can cover a few slides, or I can hand over to Vikash ji. Or Vikash, if you want me to give some opinion on the credit notes or something, I can. You can cover that. Okay, okay. So this last slide I would like to talk about is warranty replacements. Sir, in our business, what is happening? There is a particular circular which had come out, circular 19507/2023. सर उसमें सब क्लैरिफिकेशन था. उसमें क्या क्लैरिफिकेशन था? जब अपने गीजर बेचते हैं, when we are selling the geyser or the product, we are selling warranty, we are selling service, we are selling goods, all in a composite supply. Very well, good sir. If there is any repair or if there is any replacement of any part within 2 years of the warranty period, that has also been sold. If any replacement of any part happens, there is no requirement of reversal of input tax credit from the manufacturer. अरे सर दाम तो already add कर दिए ना उसका composite supply में of all the warranty of all the parts of all the repair. Now sir the clarification has come sir कि geyser का part अगर replace नहीं करना, अगर geyser ही replace करना है, means goods as such if we need to replace, whether that is also included, whether the manufacturer has to reverse his input tax credit because parts are being returned back to him. So clarification is made and extension is provided to same para 2 of the circular that if goods as such, if parts, if any repair is been provided free of cost within the warranty period by the distributor or the manufacturer, no requirement of reversal of input tax credit, as simple as that. Second provision, sir, geyser आज का आज मेरे को repair चाहिए. I've gone to the distributor and distributor has his spare parts. I will raise a requisition, it will come in 20 days. My customer will not wait, but I have the part in my inventory. The distributor will take that part, put it in the geyser, fine. And 20 days later, his stock will be replenished. In that case, sir, no charge is happening. The manufacturer is replacing the part within the warranty period. So it should also be covered, right? So that is also been mentioned. Manufacturer does not have to pay GST on the new part provided to the distributor because it is no additional charge. Manufacturer does not have to reverse this input tax credit because old part is coming for replacement. No, because it is covered in the warranty period. Warranty period consideration has already been realized earlier. Third and last clarification, extended warranty. Sir, geyser मैं खरीद रहा था, but at the same time, I was offered extended warranty of 4th year, 5th year, 6th year by Khosla Electronics, some other person, not my original supplier. In that particular case, sir, whether it will be a part of composite supply with the original, how can it be composite supply? Supplier is different. One was Great Eastern, one is Khosla. How can it be a composite supply? So, in that particular case, at the time of purchasing that geyser, if any provision of any supply of extended warranty comes, it is a provision of service and 18% GST will be charged. Even after selling the geyser, subsequently if extended warranty is given by the manufacturer or by the distributor, this particular, it will be provision of supply of service and not of composite supply. So there are many more things, but Vikash ji will cover these other points. So I would like to, if we are going to have any query session right now or together at the end of the session, you're free to ask me any questions now or later as per the consensus of the audience. If there is any question regarding any GST amendments, even apart from my presentation, you can ask me now or after the presentation. After, okay, okay. Thank you for the patience of all. Yeah, yes. Yes, sir. So in the end, we can have a combined something. Thank you everyone for your patience. Thank you.
Ji, I would now request Shri Vikas Parak to deliver his.
Respected Shri Rajkumar Agarwal ji, Vice President of the Chamber, Shri S.M. Surana ji, Chairman, Direct Taxation Subcommittee, Shri Shan Tulsian ji, my co-panelist, Shri Rakesh Jha ji, former President of the Chamber, Ms. Keka Sharma, Secretary General of the Chamber, other members, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. Well, at the outset, I would like to congratulate Ishan ji for a really energizing deliberation, and to cover so many amendments and so many things is actually in a short span of time, it's really difficult, but he has really covered a lot of things and made my job a bit easier. So request everyone to give a big round of applause to him for his energizing deliberation. Well, it's a pleasure here today to discuss a topic that is crucial, very crucial, recent developments in GST in fact, the road ahead. And in fact, I was listening to Rajkumar ji when he said that even after 8 years, we are still, discussing recent developments. So this is a fact that even after, it's been 2017 to 2024, more than 7 years, and we still it is evolving. So GST is such a law, it is evolving, but it is evolving morely, based on the feedbacks both from all the stakeholders, whether it is business houses, taxpayers, or the government. So everyone is facing challenges. So their intention is to remove those hurdles. So as in fact, when we initially started, the GST was implemented initially. In the initial month, the collection of the government was 90,000 crores. And in the last month of June, it is 1.74 lakh crore. So you can see that the economic growth, the inclusion of the taxpayers, a lot of things have happened. The efficacy, the compliance management has actually, made this happen. So in today's session, already we are discussing about the recommendations. And these recommendations, friends, are basically, there are certain measures to reduce litigation. If you see, even when Ishanji was telling, there are certain measures to reduce litigation, certain measures related to compliance, certain measures related to rate changes, exemption, and most importantly, government has come out with many clarifications. So this is very important. So although many things have been taken care, but I will touch upon few of them which I would like to highlight. The first thing is the monetary limit for appeals. The government actually has a section 120, power not to file appeals. When it read with 168, they have issued a circular that the department will not file any appeals within the monetary limits of 20 lakhs of the tax demand in GST appellate tribunal, 1 crore for high courts and 2 crore for Supreme Court. So there is a similar provision in income tax as well. But this limits applies to tax demands where it is about tax, interest and penalties. It is only up to tax demands. If it is only for interest, let's say, then it is for interest amount. This limit has to be considered based on the interest. And if it is only for penalty, then for penalty. So first thing is that we have to see that at which stage we are currently in our appeal. Suppose हमारी कोई अपील है, जो अपील हम देख रहे हैं कि भाई आज के दिन में सपोज करें जीएसटी अपील लेवल पे है और उसकी टैक्स डिमांड जो है वो 20 लाख से कम है. सो हम ये समझ सकते हैं कि अगर हम उस केस को जीत जाते हैं वहां पे तो डिपार्टमेंट विल नॉट गो टू द ट्राइब्यूनल. सो दिस इज द थिंग, सेम अप्लाइज टू हाई कोर्ट एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट. बट when you go through the press release, we were very happy. It's a thing. But when you go through the circular, and by the time you finish the circular, you feel it's an eyewash. I'll tell you why. There are exclusions. कि किन cases में government के लिए mandatory नहीं है withdraw करना. First thing, if there is any provision which you are contesting, it is ultra vires to the law, no, they will fight. If there is any case which involves valuation, classification, refunds, place of supply, and any other issue, in the end, any other issue, it is of recurring nature or it involves interpretation of act, rules, notification, circular, instruction, then it is not mandatory for them. So what is left out? Only facts, fact-finding thing. And that too, it is very difficult to, see that whether it is a case only on facts or there is something which is involved, an act, rule, because it is really, and in the end also, they have said that apart from above, if the board feels that in the opinion of the board, any issue or anything government will contest, they will contest. And if even after this, they have got scared. Why they have got scared? Twice or thrice in the circular, they have mentioned that even if the government withdraws this appeal, does not file, does not contest, it should not be presumed that they have accepted, and there should be a noting on record by every officer that they are doing this just because of this monetary limit circular and they have not accepted. So you cannot claim that कि भाई मेरा वाला केस में गवर्नमेंट ने तो किया नहीं अपील, तो same case if it happens in my other company or in other SSE, so you cannot claim that कि because it was not contested, this is the finality. So this is something which is actually an eye watch, I feel. Second very important thing is that RCM ITC availability. In case of RCM, many of us might have seen that ki during the course of audit or suo moto, we have seen that ki some tax was not paid under RCM in earlier years. And then what happened that some of us have claimed that tax payment paid under RCM and claimed again in GSTR 3B, even without any clarification. But many did not even claim that RCM. It was demanded during the course of audit. We paid the RCM along with interest, but never claimed it. Now, although there is no change in law, but it is a clarification which is beneficial. The government is now telling, if you have paid any RCM or even if you have not paid, suppose today you see that for 18, 19, 19, 20, you have not paid any RCM and you notice it today, maybe during the course of audit or suo moto, then you can pay that RCM along with interest and claim that today by raising a self invoice in case of supplies received from unregistered person. RCM can also be received from registered person in specified services and from unregistered as well. Unregistered, suppose you are making payment of freight to any transporter who is unregistered, or to any security person, or legal charges. In legal charges, when you pay to an advocate, they are unregistered, so it is under RCM. So now suppose if you have omitted any RCM, you can pay today. The RCM credit is claimed as per section 16 on the basis of self invoice. Section 31(3)(f) tells you to raise a self invoice. You raise that self invoice today, you have to pay interest, but you can claim that entire credit. So you check your past period. If there is some major credits which has been, major RCM payments which were not done, you can do it today. Only thing is that you have to pay interest, but there won't be any litigation and you can claim the ITC. Now the only thing is that so I'll move to the next point. Value of service between related persons. This is very important. When there is a schedule 1 under GST Act which says that if there is any transaction between related persons without consideration, suppose there are sister concerns, associates, holding subsidiaries, or directors, relative of directors, there's a list of related persons as per GST law. If there is any transaction without consideration, it is deemed a supply. And when it is deemed a supply, then you have to go to the valuation rules, open market value, and so on. But there is a provision under Rule 28 which says that if the transaction between related supplies, the recipient is eligible for full income tax credit. Suppose if I am a person, I am a company, I am raising another invoice on my sister concern for anything, maybe it is for rent or for commission, supervision charge, anything. If the recipient company, the related party, is eligible for full income tax credit, then even if I charge 1 rupee, that will be deemed to be the transaction value. The government cannot question that. This was there in the rule. Even if I don't charge anything, zero value will be deemed to be the open market value and no GST. But there were demands being raised by the department where the associate was a foreign party, foreign company. Suppose I have got a holding company or a subsidiary company or an associate company abroad, and I am, raising an invoice for certain services. The company is raising an invoice on the Indian concern for some services, and we are making the payment. So in that case, reverse charge is applicable on import of services. So under reverse charge, the department was claiming that you are not paying RCM, there should be open market value. So they have come out with a clarification that as it is applicable to a domestic related party, the same circular will apply, the same rule will apply even if it is a foreign concern, and even if you don't raise any invoice, there won't be any GST payable under RCM. The circular was issued in July 2023. The same circular has been extended here. Now, corporate guarantee. There has been a lot of hue and cry about corporate guarantees. Many of us might have seen that in corporate guarantee normally is given in related parties only. Non-related mein kaun dega corporate guarantee? Someone else is taking a loan, no one is going to give for corporate guarantee. So there was a lot of issues that what will happen in corporate guarantee. The major challenges were that suppose if my property in one company from which I am giving corporate guarantee, let's say the property value is 1 crore rupees. And the company to which I am giving the guarantee, the company has taken a loan of 100 crore rupees. So in the MCA, if you see, even the company which is having a property of 1 crore, MCA will show it as 100 crores liability. MCA charge will be created for 100 crores. So there was a problem that for 100 crores, if someone has to pay GST, then it becomes 1%, taxable value becomes 1% of guarantee. So 100 crores, 1 crore rupees, on 1 crore you have to pay 18 lakh rupees, 18% GST. So government has come up, this is very, very good move. They have told that in cases where you are giving corporate guarantee to an export, to a foreign company, so it is an export of service, and even if you are giving to a domestic related associate, and that associate, that recipient is the person who has taken the loan, the company which has taken the loan is eligible for full income tax credit. In that case, even if you don't charge anything, you don't have to pay any GST. So this is a very, very good move. The only catch point still remains, there are cases where the recipient is not eligible for full income tax credit. Real estate. The major issue will come in real estate, where in residential construction you cannot claim ITC. So what will happen there? If you give guarantees, if you give related party transactions, there will be some challenges. One more last important point which I would like to make is about section 15(3)(b)(2). You all know, when you issue a credit note, there are certain conditions to be followed. First you do a sale, you raise a tax invoice. After that you issue a credit note many times, post supply discounts normally. So there are certain conditions. First condition is that the terms of agreement should be known before the supply. Second is that it should be linked to the invoice. Those two we can manage. The third and most important condition is that when a supplier is reversing the GST under credit note, the condition is that your customer should have reversed that credit in his GSTR 3B or through DRC 03. Today there is no mechanism to understand whether your recipient has reversed that or not. So what do? Normally what we advise is that today, first you do one thing, you take a corresponding debit note from them. Second, you take an account confirmation which reflects the GST reversal. But this is only the books part. Still, you don't know whether they have reversed in GSTR 3B or to DRC 3 or not, and there is no mechanism for the department also to know today. So what they have done is that they have said that in case of such reversals, if the total tax reversal with one party is less than 5 lakh rupees, in that case, a self-declaration you need from the recipient customer that yes, I have reversed in GSTR 3B by way of 3B or to DRC 03, and along with details that this is the credit note number, I have reversed it on this date through this mechanism. If the amount is more than 5 lakh rupees, then it needs to be certified by a chartered accountant or a cost and management accountant, the same thing. So based on this, now the department will confirm that okay, if you have reversed credit note, then you can get along with this. Now, but what will happen for past cases where the department has reversed? Whether if we bring, the department has told that for past cases, if the department wants, you can give that. But where we have paid the tax, can we claim refund of that now? Based on this declaration, this is the question which the government needs to clarify, because the honest taxpayers suffers always. All these things, when you see, by the time it comes, most of the honest taxpayers have paid the tax, who don't want to go into litigation. So they are the sufferers, and those who have not paid, who are litigating, who are not paying, they get this benefit. So the government should come out in these things that in cases where past payment tax has been paid, there should be a provision where based on this, the refund should be allowed. This is one of the things. Last but not the least, I would just like to say one point about Rajkumar ji had mentioned about section 11A, a very important provision which is going to come in GST law, and it is very important from chamber point of view, from industries and trade associations point of view, to take benefit of this section. The government is introducing a section where the government is giving power. The government will get a power, will give the power to the GST, through the GST Council to the authorities, not to recover taxes as a result of, not to recover any short taxes or taxes not paid as a result of common trade practices. There may be sectors where something is being followed practically across the board in the entire industry or entire trade. And due to that, majority of the taxpayers are not paying the tax or short paying the tax. In those cases, the government can come up with some kind of a order, notification or instruction where they will say that, okay, for this industry, this thing is not applicable. So we should find out which are the cases. I'll just give you a small example of a real estate industry. There is a rule many of you must be knowing that 80% of the procurement must be received from registered suppliers in case of a residential construction. There's a major challenge where this inward supplies includes interest. Interest component is a big component, and mostly when you take interest from unsecured, when you take loan from unsecured loans, those are not registered. So it comes under the purview of unregistered, and it crosses the threshold of 20%. So this is a big challenge. So can we plead to the government that introduce something under section 11A, and this should not be treated as short paid. This is just an example. So this is another thing which is very important. And just in the last, I would like to say that one part of our session was recent developments in GST, and another part was the road ahead. So what is the road ahead? Well, 4 pointers I would like to say to end this. First thing is that further simplification is still required. Streamlining the tax rate, reducing the tax brackets. It is on the cards, but it is long due. Bringing in other taxes, power, fuel, and stamp duties under GST regime is another thing. Reducing litigation, government is moving towards it, but still a lot of SOPs have to be brought in between the government and taxpayers, which should be in the public domain. That in these cases, this is the manner in which you should conduct the investigation, audit, or the adjudication. Technological advancement government is doing, but awareness is less. They need to make industry and trade aware about the tools which they are bringing in. One tool which I am not sure whether all of you know or not, on the portal they have introduced communication between supplier and recipient. Many of us might be using, might not be using, but many are not aware that there's a communication tool where you can communicate with your recipient, this is your problem, and he can communicate back. And government should come up with more FAQs on sector specific issues, which will help the sector going forward in the long way. Thank you very much for a patient hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Parak, for very clear, clarifications. I would now request, to request members if there are any questions or clarifications.
One is under section 51 of GST Act, TTS on GST. Please clarify the matter, and how will take the, can I take the input credit for the same? Please explain me.
If you have a contractual payment from the government of more than 2.5 lakh rupees, if the government is making more than 2.5 lakh rupees to you, then the government has to deduct 0.5. 1% under CGST, SGST by filing GSTR 7. You will file the GSTR 7.
GSTR 7.
GSTR 7 is there, and now this new clarification has also come that for GSTR 7, mandatory GSTR 7 filing by the government departments, first of all. Second of all, they have to file invoice wise.
That should be downloaded from the GST portal.
So you will get a certificate that that particular amount is deposited in your cash ledger, not credit ledger. It will be coming in your cash ledger. After
not
the
shown in credit ledger.
No, sir, not credit ledger. That will be paid against any output tax liability. When you have any gross tax liability, you can use that. But the government department has to file GSTR 7 within the 10th. By the 20th, you will download the this 7A certificate from online and all that. It will be automatically auto-populated. That 1% will be automatically auto-populated in your electronic cash ledger, and you can use it against your output tax liability in 3B.
Sir, actually, our client has been deducted 1% to 1%, 2% from our bill, and they are said that you should take the credit. But my question is that how I will show, but how it will be shown in the credit that I will take the
cash
credit.
ledger, it will automatically come if they file.
No, sir, it has not been reflected in the cash ledger. I have sent through GST portal.
You can download a certificate also. Usually when GSTR 7 is filed, right, by the GST department, and then after that GSTR, I think 7A is there, the certificate you can download from online, right? And automatically your cash ledger is auto-populated by 1%. CGST, SGST or if IGST is there.
Sir, has there any question to accept the GSTR 7? Any question to accept or reject it?
After that, it will
Reflect in your
in
electronic
e-cash
cash
ledger,
ledger.
and you can use that e-cash ledger amount for making liability payment.
Okay, sir. So I will have to go through GSTR 7.
You have to follow a procedure.
Follow a procedure, sir, like
of the
select
portal,
or
you have to
something,
accept that and then
certificate.
it will-
But now, sir, as you are mentioning, this problem should not recur is because the clarification has come. Mandatory GSTR 7 filing, even if it is nil, you have to file, but the GST department does not have to pay any nil fees as per this clarification of 53rd GST Council meeting. Also, they have to do it invoice wise. Earlier, it was not invoice wise, it was ad hoc amount. Now it is invoice wise. We also need to understand that as per the SOP guideline, instruction 02 2022, I think, for scrutiny of returns, the amount which is liable for TDS deduction should be at least the minimum amount which you have to report in your GSTR 3B. That is one of the parameters. Try to understand your that month invoice is zero sale, and only government transaction you've done. You've raised the invoice only to the government.
Only government transaction.
If government for that month for you, I'm saying, if the
Yes,
government issues a, if the government, if you issue a particular invoice, government makes a payment of 1%, and for instance, if you make invoice of 1 crore. Right. But the transaction is of 2 crores. You get payment of 1 crore. Government but will deduct on 2 crores, 1%. So you are liable to now make payment, or a notice will come on 2 crore rupees. You have to show sale of 2 crore rupees because government has deducted TDS of 1% on 2 crore, even though the government may have paid 1 crore only to you.
Sir, another question is that there is any limit for deduction for such deduction? The minimum limitation.
So 2.5 lakh rupees is there where it is of taxable value is what I remember. The tax amount is not included in this. So if your bill is of more than 2.5 lakh rupees taxable value plus CGST, SGST for any specific one invoice to the government is making payment. If your invoice contractual value is of more than 2.5 lakh rupees taxable value, then this gets triggered. 1% gets triggered.
Sir, second thing is that the purchase order value is near about 6 lakhs, but I have made 3 to 4 bills. Partly supply, we have supply partly into 3 to 4 bills, and that should be TDS deduction on GST.
Sir, depends whether any bill exceeds the 2.5 lakh rupees taxable value. You are mentioning that 3 to 4 bills, the cumulative amount is 6 to 7 lakhs. So if any bill is there where the aggregate value, taxable value is more than 2.5 by itself in individuality, then see the intention, try to understand the
Sir,
intention.
thank you very much for your valued opinion. Thank you.
Applicable in case of invoice or on the purchase order?
Sir, purchase order, it includes the taxable value, right? And the tax amount is mentioned in the invoice, right? Tax invoice under section 31. So this 2.5 lakh rupees is the taxable value. If you exceed 2.5, like for example, for e-way bill is the invoice value where you have the tax amount also included. More than 1 lakh rupees it is there. So you will have to issue an e-way bill, right? For intrastate movement here in Bengal. But for TDS deduction, it is 2.5 lakh rupees taxable value, not invoice value. So if any bill has more than 2.5 lakh rupees of taxable value, which you have issued to the government in any month, while making the payment by the government, he will deduct 1% for tracking so that they know that they are making payment to you. I understand that. Sir. I understand that you will have to get in touch with the particular government department. There are many ordnance factories. There are many such. They are not that streamlined. But moving ahead with this 53rd GST Council meeting, once it is notified, this particular thing, GSTR 7 will be a mandatory filing with invoice. So that should streamline.
If it is over, then only it will be returned, something like that. Is it true?
Sir, time of supply as per your particular service which you are providing or any goods or something, the time of supply is your payment date or your invoice date, whichever is earlier, right? Or the provision of supply 60 days or 30 days from that. So in any month, if you are issuing the invoice max to max next month, the time of supply comes in where you have to, out of your pocket, you have to make payment to the government. The government department being your customer, he does not care. You have to make payment out of your pocket. Now, if the government department makes payment to you or not, if he does not make payment within 180 days, then it triggers your violation of section 16 subsection 2 second proviso read with rule 37. He has to reverse any input tax credit which he has claimed. 180 is it's a separate provision. It's basically
MSME?
no MSME. That is different, sir. This particular rule says that in case if you do not make payment to your supplier, means for the government you are the supplier. Right. If the government does not make payment to you within 180 days from the date of invoice which you are mentioning, so on the original date, if he has claimed input tax credit in his GSTR 3B, because you've given the invoice, he can claim input tax credit, right? You will make payment out of your pocket. He does not have to make payment right away to you. He can make payment whenever he wants. But there is a stipulation. Within 6 months, if the government does not make payment to you, initial input tax rate which he has claimed, he has to reverse along with applicable interest. In table 4B2, the compliances are there. So there are stipulations, responsibilities which the government department also has to follow. It cannot be as ad hoc as you're saying. It's unfortunate to hear that, but you can quote these clarifications which have come for GSTR 7 and all that, and you can tell them that.
We asked to give a statement, the breakups, actually. From which invoice you have deducted this amount?
It is very difficult, sir. In our client's case also we see that it becomes very difficult, one-to-one correlation for the payments, especially with the GST government department, but it requires some cooperation from their end, definitely.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
you, sir.
On RCM, yeah, for time limit for availment of ITC for RCM for registered person. I mean,
Sir, it is still that. Try to understand, as sir had mentioned, Vikash ji had mentioned, that the time of supply for any invoice, self-invoice which you issue in respect of any inward supply from an unregistered person, that is in your hand.
Yes.
That is delinked from your time of supply. You may have to pay interest, you may have to pay penalty under 122(3)(e), 25,000 each. That is different. But still for registered, your registered suppliers, registered GTAs, registered people, where you have to make payment, the time of supply triggers then.
Okay.
Time of supply for RCM in case of service is 61st day from the provision of the service or the date of receipt of, or the date of payment, whichever is earlier. So if the invoice is issued by the registered person, within 60 days, you have to make payment of RCM or the payment, whichever is earlier. So there is a stipulation, sir, here. For that particular case, they are delinked that particular, this issue of the self-invoice under section 31(3)(f), that they had in the year for section 16 subsection, try to understand, section 16 subsection 4 mentions, you have to claim input tax credit in respect of an invoice and debit note pertaining to a financial year up to the 30th November of the next financial year. So if I'm issuing self-invoice from unregistered supplier, if I'm issuing the invoice in the year of 2023, so 2023 year is considered and 30th November 2024 is the time barring. But for registered taxpayers, registered suppliers, this particular benefit we do not get, because the time of supply, because the invoice, because the actual provision of service is then, and under section 31, that is the document which we receive. Try to understand the tax invoice which we are receiving, from the supplier under RCM, registered supplier, that under section 31 is the basis of document for us to claim input tax credit. Under unregistered suppliers, it is what we create, tax invoice, that is self-invoice, section 33(1)(f). So we are creating at our whatever pleasure, 2-3 years later, we'll pay interest, we'll pay penalty. But he has issued the tax invoice during the time of supply, because otherwise he'll have to pay interest. So for that, sir, you will have to make payment right then, within 60 days or as per the time of supply provisions. No clarification has been provided or benefit for that. For registered, sir, you have to. Even in audit cases, as sir had mentioned, that in audit cases also, in DRC 03, if you're making payment and all of those things, make payment and all that, and then issue self-invoice for your unregistered cases and all that, you'll get input tax rate. Now it has been clarified.
Regarding this new form 1A, so if the the seller issues, makes some changes and files a revised form, the 1A, how will it impact the purchasing?
Sir,
SSA?
mirror matching. what is called mirror matching. GSTR 1A, we are filing, GSTR 1 we filed for June on the 5th of July.
Right.
Up to the 11th. Before 11th, on the 10th of July, I filed GSTR 1A, much before the 11th.
Okay.
We need to understand GSTR 2B, it gets locked. It gets locked on the 11th for the normal taxpayers and for QRMP for the 13th. And on the 14th, we receive that particular GSTR 2B.
Right.
In case if we, as suppliers, we make changes, rectifications, make good omissions before the 11th of July for in respect of June GSTR 1, that is well before the
Before
11th,
yeah.
which is the cutoff date.
Yeah.
So in the same month, sir, your supplier, your recipient will get the correct amount,
Right.
auto-populated in his GSTR 2B. Try to understand
Perfect.
the government is trying to make the GSTR 3B as simple as possible, locking everything. They are trying.
Right.
From GSTR 1, it will go to 2A, 2B, 2B, it will come to all of these tables in 3B. All those provisional changes which you can make, all those things are there. But definitely 2A matching means right then when you file GSTR 1A, you click submit, you click file, those revision data, they directly go to 2A, dynamic. But for 2B, if you file before the 11th or by the 11th, then for that particular month, your recipient will get that particular benefit. But if you file after the 11th, but up to your GSTR 3B, which
Right.
is the mandate
Yeah,
and
I
all
mean,
that, you will get the input, the revised input benefit in the next month.
Okay, so like even if the his input is lessened also, then also it will impact
It
him
will
only in the
reflect
next.
in the next month if
next
it is
month's
if
only.
DRC 01A is filed. This thing GSTR 1A is filed after the 11th. GSTR
So
2A
the-
will be auto-populated,
so-
2B will be auto-populated.
So the impact will be in next month in
Next
that
month,
case.
definitely.
Okay. And one more thing, like I am here on behalf of the Eastern India Corrugated Box Manufacturers Association. So like in the recent amendment, the duty has come, I mean the GST has come down to 12% from 18. So when is it expected to be notified? Like a lot of members are there asking about it, that when is
Sir,
it going to be?
Finance bill is Vikash, you will tell you that.
No, see, the rate notification should come any moment in this month itself. Actually, it is not related to law change.
Yeah.
So they will not be required to wait till 22nd of July for budgetary changes.
Right.
Okay, because in the budgetary changes, normally custom related notifications are announced and the other law changes are done. So in this case, they should do it any moment. In this month, they will not even wait.
People are expecting from the 1st
It
of
should
July
have been
also,
done.
it could have- yeah.
We are actually also very, surprised that it has not been done. It should have
Exactly.
been done immediately. So maybe in the HSN and all and in the detailing, they are taking some time because, in your industry, there are certain issues.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is the reason
Fitment,
they are
yeah.
they are fitting it up in the appropriate categories. And regarding GSTR 1 and 1A, one thing I would like to add, as Ashanji said, apart from the recipient, it is very important from the supplier's point of view, because what happens is that if by 11th you file your GSTR 1 and by the time you file your 3B, you see that 3 invoices have been missed. There is a mismatch and you will receive a notice of GSTR 1B. Every month you will have to respond to that. So to avoid that, it is very important for the supplier. Suppose you are filing your GSTR 3B on 19th. By 18th also, if you file your 1A, so then there won't be any mismatch between 1 and 3B. So this is very important from supplier's point of view.
So my 3B will also be after, even if I file on the 18th, the 1A,
Yes.
the 3B will reflect that.
The 3B will reflect
3B
that.
तो आप अपना
3B
correct
तो
ही
you
file
are
करोगे,
correct, है ना?
GSTR 1 कुछ गलती फाइल की
हाँ,
हो तो विकास जी
There
बोल
won't
रहे
be
हैं
any
कि-
difference.
हाँ, difference ही रहेगा तो difference होने से
हाँ,
क्या है कि intimation होता है आपका
हाँ.
DRC 01B
Okay.
होता है जो
Okay.
सेल में difference होता है 1 और 3B में वो नहीं आएगा.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir, it will continue, but the next now these major changes, 16.4 is their amnesty scheme, all of that should be a part of the act presented in the finance bill in the budget session. As sir said that all the other rate changes and all may come immediately, but where it is required for the act to change, because see, there are so many circulars, they have overarched the act, the provision, everything, but it is all in our benefit, so we are not complaining, most of it. We are not complaining that, apart from the one which sir had mentioned about the credit note, because it gives an onerous responsibility on the supplier. Apart from that, most of it is in the favor of the, the taxpayer. But it is all overarching. ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा, law में लिखा ही नहीं है ऐसा चीज, ये करे, वो करे.
You are thinking that
Three-layer taxation? Regarding what? Oh, acha, they have been talking about, yeah.
That is
very difficult in a country like India. Yes.
Sir, can we able to, excuse me, I have a small query here. Can we able to claim a refund of GST supplying of exempted goods?
No, sir, you cannot. It has been specifically mentioned in, I think, section 54 only, if you would check, that where input is not, input is to be reversed on the supply of exempt supply under Rule 4243, the proportionate common input tax credit you have to make, and then numerator will be exempt supply divided by total adjusted turnover and all that. Where supply does not entertain the claiming of input tax credit, how can you go ahead and say that I want refund against that? You cannot. Firstly. Secondly, I think in the calculation also in Rule 89, 89 where under LUT if you are exporting, 89 Rule 89 4, there also if you see in the numerator you have 0 rated supply.
Yes, yes.
FOB of the shipping bill, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
1.5 times of like domestic supply divided by adjusted total turnover.
Correct.
Adjusted total turnover, the definition as per the explanation given in 84, 4, 89, 4, 89, 4A, 4B, everything, all of that, it is mentioned. Your total adjusted supply is domestic supply, your further definition of supply provision of service, and your zero rated supply. I think exempted supply is not mentioned there. Also, any supply which has been provided under Rule 89, 4B and 4A, which is related to advance authorization and all of those things, they are also not included. So, exempt supply is not included in the denominator also. So, refund, you cannot claim refund of any supply which is exempted, sir. You have to reverse input tax credit rather. How can you claim refund against that?
Now, we are paying service GST on services what we take to the export for exempted goods. That's what I'm asking.
No, I don't think so. Because even in the calculation, in your in the explanation, in the turnover for provision of service and all that, exempted supply will not come. Kindly go through section 54. Even with your automated, refund filing, Rule 96 sub Rule 10 is there. Your LUT Rule 89 is there.
It's not allowing.
It is not allowable. So try to understand. If out of 99 rupees, if I am an educational institute, 1 rupee only I do taxable, whatever, supply. 99 rupees I do exempt supply, education service, hospital, all of those things. So sir, when I am calculating as a permanent reversal in my GSTR 3B, I have to permanently reverse the proportionate input tax credit pertaining to 99 divided by 100, the major.
Okay.
Because we cannot claim input tax credit against any supply of exempt supply. So how can we claim refund against that, sir? Also in the definitions, as I told you, under 89, Rule 89, it is exempt supply is excluded in the denominator.
See,
also.
basically section 16 and section 617 debars you, and read with Rule 4243, it does not form part of your eligible credit. So once it is not an eligible credit, there is no question of any refunds thereafter. You cannot set it off against liability, you cannot claim refunds also.
Okay, and that claim amount will be remain there only. That means the amount which I have paid.
Sir,
That is a cost.
input tax credit proportionate to exempt supply has to be permanently reversed in table 4B1 of your GSTR 3B as a permanent reversal. So how can that even be there in your credit ledger, sir? That has to be reversed. If you are not reversing it, sir, you are claiming ineligible input tax credit.
Okay.
If there is any exempt supply as per the exempt notification 13 or 2017, 12 2017 or whatever, there proportionate input tax credit, that has to be removed. Even if you see the scrutiny notices ASMT 10, the second or third last page, they calculate there, sir. Exempt supply you have to report in your GSTR 3B also, in table 5 of GSTR 9 also. Even if you report 1 rupee or any 1 rupee by mistake, as I mentioned, if your sale is reported as subject to RCM, that will be caught in exempt supply. They will put it in the numerator, denominator 1 crore rupees entire, on the numerator 100 rupees into common pool of credit, and they will ask you to reverse these particular amounts in your ASMT 10 in scrutiny attachment. So you have to reverse that by your own self.
But how we can reverse that, because
Rule 4243, sir, proportionate reversal, as I told you, exempt supply divided by total turnover into the common pool of input tax credit. Sir, try to understand, you are an establishment which is giving 20 units of exempted supply, 80 units of taxable supply. 100 units are there, 20 units.
I only do exempted supply only.
Sir, so you are not supposed to claim input tax credit only, you are supposed to reverse all of it in table 4B1.
Sir, the entire credit which which you want to claim because your entire supply is exempt, you are not paying a single rupee GST to the government. So in that case, whatever GST you are paying, that becomes part of your cost. Simple. You have to account it as your cost.
Not charging GST, you cannot claim the benefit of interest.
So, and it becomes part of your cost.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, members. I would now request our Shri S.M. Surana, Chairman of Direct Taxes Subcommittee of the Chamber, to propose a vote of thanks.
So before we propose the vote of thanks, we have mementos for our panel speakers. May I request you to kindly present the memento to Shri Ishan Tulsian, partner R. Tulsian and Company LLP, for sparing some of his valuable time and addressing the panel session. Thank you, sir. Sir, next we have Shri Vikash Parak. May I request you to present the memento to Shri Parak, partner MS Garv and Associates, and the co-chairman of the Indirect Taxation Subcommittee, for addressing the session and supporting us like always. May I now request Shri Surana to kindly propose the vote of thanks and conclude today's panel session.
Shri Tulsian ji, Shri Parak ji, Shri Rajkumar ji Agarwal, members of the chamber, guests and friends. At the end of this important panel session on recent developments in GST, the road ahead, it is my most pleasant duty to propose a very hearty vote of thanks to our esteemed guest speakers, Shri Ishanji Tulsian, FCA, ACS, LLB, partner R. Tulsian and Company LLP, and Shri Vikas Parak, FCA, DISA, DIRM, Co-Chairman Taxation GST Subcommittee of the Chamber, and partner Messrs. Garv and Associates, for addressing us today on such an important subject. The goods and service tax, since its very inception, has been a continuous work in progress. I should say progress in collection, progress in compliances, progress in criminal prosecutions, progress in complications. And as Vikas said that simplification is required, my experience is that whenever there is any simplification, that creates more complications. So if there is any simplification, then we will welcome that, but it should not create any complication. And in fact, this requires strict governance and the administration to be revamped. I would once again thank our guest speakers for sharing their thoughts and clarifying our doubts regarding some critical areas concerning GST. I must thank everyone present for making it convenient to attend today's panel sessions. With these words, I would request all of you to join me in carrying a vote of thanks to the guest speakers with appreciative acclamation. ये सारे इनकम टैक्स एडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं आप एमनेस्टी स्कीम पहले वहाँ आया था
हाँ जी वही है विवाद से विश्वास और जो था वो
बस वही है सेम
यस आना चाहिए
ये जो अपील ट्रिब्यूनल का आपको किया हमारे यहाँ पहले था उसमें दुनिया आई पास हो गया सब आई पास है